What's good, guys? Tenacious Scott here, back once again with another Fallout 76 PvP build showcase. Now, I know it's been a long time. We're talking what, maybe 4 months since my original sort of showcase that I done when I first got properly into PvP. But what's happened in the last 4 months? Well, quite a lot. So I have updated my build somewhat, and of course in that amount of time I've managed to upgrade all my power armour. As you can see, originally I was running T51, you know, fully kitted out, but now I've managed to reacquire a full set of T65. So I mean, if it's not pretty obvious by now, you can see exactly what kind of build this is. I mean, anybody that knows of me and knows my channel knows my build. You know, primarily Junkies AC130, right? I say Junkies, but do you know what? Since the nerf, I found myself using all sorts of weapons. So it's not just been Junkies. I've seen me running anti-armour, still clapping. You know, I've seen me running bloodied quite a lot, which is kind of fun to do again. Like, thanks to the nerf, like, bloody builds have never been tankier, and it's really fun to, you know, run a good solid sort of bloody build. So I've been running my BE plasma sometimes as well. Hell, I've even messed about with a vampire's explosive. But there's one little hidden gem that I actually want to talk to you about as well, in terms of, you know, Gatling plasma. And mark my words, but it is up and coming meta, definitely. However, before we get on to that, yeah, let's just talk about, you know, my new setup and, you know, what's changed with you know, my build and my cards and stuff like that. But straight off the bat, I mean, nothing's changed in terms of my mutations or anything like that. So if you want to see exactly what mutations I'm running, if you look up the previous video from about 4 months ago, you know, that will give you a sort of in-depth, a more in-depth view on my build back then, like mutations and stuff. But as it stands just now, the main change is, of course, the power armour. So it's all T65, which is tanky. It's the tankiest armour in the game. Hence, you know, it costs you like a fucking trillion gold bullion to get all the pieces. But got all the mods, got my set, you know, fully built. So when I'm full health, it's still got to be core assembly. It's still assembly core for that AP boost. I don't know, I just can't see past it. Like we discussed in the previous video, a lot of people like to do medic pump, but that only works with regular stims. And to be fair, I've got Born Survivor incorporated into my build religiously, regardless, you know what I mean? It's not done me any harm, so for me, no medic pump, it's all about assembly core. Because believe it or not, your core assembly actually regens your AP faster than full Action Boy. You know, so it's great. So I've done a little bit of testing, and from 0 AP to full again with just my regular bar, with the core assembly, it was regenerating like 2 seconds faster, something like that. It was like 6 seconds and then 8 seconds with Action Boy, something to that effect. I've got the numbers written down somewhere. So for me, it's always going to be assembly core. But of course, like I said, you know, I'm running bloodied more often now, so I'm always carrying the protocol chest as well. So, because I'm constantly switching between high and low health, you know, so it's easy just to switch the chests out for, you know, maximum efficiency there. But yeah, not a lot has changed. Calibrated shocks, you know how it is. And then of course that notorious jetpack right arm. Because for anybody that doesn't know, the glitch is still running, the glitch is still active, where you can craft the jetpack onto any piece of the T65. The only requirement is having the camel paint, which you had to purchase for the Atom Shop some weeks back. So if you've missed out on the camel paint, that's very unfortunate, but watch for it coming back, because you know, chances are that glitch will still be active. So same as the old Ultrasight power armor glitch, same things happened with the T65. So in this regard, I've got a jetpack right arm, so of course that frees up my chest for other weird and wonderful mods. And then sensor array in the helmet just gives you a little bit extra perception. Doesn't make a massive difference, it's not required, but it gives you, you know, you can see reds from a bit further away, I suppose. But that's pretty much it. So that's the gear, and if you look at my numbers there, ballistic resistance 607, energy resistance 632. It's the highest in the game out of all the armours, including T51. So that's what it's all about. Tanky, and it's got a really high rad resistance as well. So yeah, in terms of foods and things like that, nothing's changed there. Nothing's changed at all. You know, I'm not going to waste time going through all the foods that I use, yada yada. You know, if you want to, you know, understand the best foods to use, jump onto a cooking bench, right, and go through all your list of foods and look at their buffs, and you know, it'll be plain to see the best ones to use. But ultimately, your foods, you want to be, you know, farming things that increase endurance, because that increases your max HP. Foods that increase your max HP. Foods that increase your energy resistance, and foods that increase your action points. That's ultimately, you know, what you want to be going for. And then, you know, if you need extra carry weight to carry more stims or more aid or more ammo and cores and stuff like that, look at strength and carry weight foods as well. But that's ultimately the main foods that you want to be looking at. Just tanky foods. You know, so still running the same gear. You know, for my AP buffs, it's all about the canned coffee. I'm running razor grain flour as well. I don't have any at the moment. I need to do a farm, but it's a great backup. And it stacks with the canned coffee, of course. So spam a canned coffee. When you're in the air, you can spam a couple of razor grain, whatever, and it just keeps your AP there. Happy days. I'm still running the same serums, you know, so no classed freak. I'm just running 6 of the most important serums for my build, just to increase, you know, durability, you know, weapon effectiveness, etc. Still running the big guns bobbleheads naturally. The only major change I've made to my build is I'm not relying so much on overdrive and cycle buff anymore. Because of the nerf, you know, if you're running a full health build, you know, when you've got that weapon spread, you're just not doing enough damage to most players. Any player that you come up against that is relatively tanky, you ain't going to do much. They're just going to tank through your Gat Plasma at full health because of the spread. You're missing with most projectiles, and it's just not good enough now since the nerf. So for me, since this nerf's kicked in, it's all about the Formula P. Yeah, you take 2 or 3 of those, and your crosshairs are like a duck's arsehole. Yeah, and you are beaming. You know, it takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of getting used to, but if you can get your aim on point using that Formula P, that's where the damage is at. Ultimately, that's where it's at. That is in meta. Of course, with the nerf also, I was saying earlier that, you know, bloody builds are a lot tankier now. So there's been a massive. I've saw a big surge in bloody builds coming back out to play. Me for one, I've been running bloodied quite a lot. But when I'm coming up against some of the bigger PvP names, you don't want to take chances. So you just go full health and do your junkies thing. But that's where Formula P. And remember, it stacks with overdrive. So if you pop an overdrive first, that's not a base chem. Like that's not a main chem. So you can stack other things on top of that, like Formula P or your cycle buff or whatever. So you'll get a couple of minutes out of your overdrive, and you'll get, I think it's about 4 minutes out of your Formula P. That's if you're not running Chem Fiend. So yeah, get practicing with your Formula P, guys, and you'll see a massive difference. You know, same again, it's all about the nukas. I think before I was only ever running Quantums, but now I'm constantly trying to get my hands on others, because yeah, at the end of the day, you know, if you want to be competitive with, you know, a lot of the top PvPers, you're going to need to do a bit of spamming, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm proud that I'm a spammer. Fuck it. Who cares? I'm tanky, you're not. Nah, and all seriousness though, like stims and stuff, they really don't do enough sometimes. So, you know, and when you're getting knocked or staggered, and you know that gap plasma is still spinning up, there's nothing you can do. You can't stim, do you know what I mean? And you can barely get into the quick wheels sometimes. So what you got to do, you got to own that pit boy, and you got to take stuff to keep you alive. At the end of the day, it's the meta. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people think it's trash. You know, get good or get farmed at the end of the day. Yep, Stealth Boys, Super Stims, magazines. So there's a lot of good magazines out there. Magazines that, you know, buff your food benefits. You know, these guys running about with fucking 1,000 plus energy resistance and HP. You don't need it, man. You don't need it. Like, I will never see past these two magazines here. Tesla 2, minus 25% plasma damage taken. It's a flat minus 25% damage. Like, you can't go wrong with that. Like, so if this guy's, you know, hitting me for 110s, which doesn't actually happen, but the guy was hitting me for 110s, he'd be hitting me for 80s. Do you know what I mean? Just straight off the bat. So, best magazine in my opinion when you're coming up against other plasmas. But when you're coming up against commandos, a lot of good commandos out there. Unstoppables 5, 30% chance to avoid energy damage. Yeah, it's not a flat, you know, what's the word? It's not a flat resistance, it's not a flat reduction, but it's a 30% chance. So yeah, they'll hit 2 out of 3 shots. 2 out of 3 shots will land on you. So definitely the best magazine for, you know, lasers and Teslas and whatnot. And then of course the all important alcohol. I've not been running Party Boy as much now, but I do switch it sometimes. It depends, you know, who I've got in my team, what cards they're sharing. I do like to get Party Boy in there as much as possible, but you know, along the line I've actually I've downsized my charisma by a couple of points, hence I'm not actually running Party Boy primarily anymore. But without further ado, let's have a look at the cards. So I think before we look at the base cards, let's have a look at the legendary perks. So at the end of the day, you know, a lot of these are sort of, you know, personal preference, but I'll tell you two of the main legendary cards you really want to be running, right? And it's Power Armor Reboot, right? Now I'm at 94 coins. As soon as I hit 150, Power Armor Reboots get maxed out. Like, that is priority, because I'll tell you what, that shit is OP. Yeah, it's probably the best for all builds. It's probably the best legendary card for PvP, because it's one of the only ones that benefit you in PvP, but it's hands down the best across the board for PvP and PvE. So what will happen, like, if you hit 0 health and that procs, you just instantly, so you don't get knocked, you don't get like a Born Survivor revival, nothing like that, you just instantly go back to 100% health. Like, it is mental. So it's like, it gives you extra lives, gives you an extra life, and it just makes you so much more tankier. And it procs quite a lot at 30%. I cannot wait till I rank this up. But really good card, brilliant card. Agility, you know, I've just been boosting some special points, as you do, you know. you need some extra space to run some extra cards. Just be wise about it, choose it wisely. You know, you guys might have different cards from me, so but that's just what benefits me. 1 extra charisma, so I can chuck in like strange in numbers or whatever. One endurance. I will be ranking these up at some point as well, because you know we'd love to run all the good cards. Unfortunately, we can't. You know, but you got to work with what you've got. But another absolutely fundamental card, taking one for the team. That'll be second priority to rank up. You know, as soon as you take damage, that target is going to be taking 20% more damage from you. Speaks for itself. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So if they hit you first, because what I do quite often now, if you have a look at my videos, I will wait. I will hit them, right? And then I'll wait till they hit me. And then as soon as they hit me, I know instantly that I'm going to be doing plus 20% damage. So I just fly up, I get out the way, and I start beaming. And I'm doing 20% more damage immediately. So as soon as they shoot back, I just tank, and then I'm up in the air, and they're taking 20% more damage. Wham bam, thank you, man. So yeah, here's the cards. Pretty different, quite different from my original setup. Like I said, I have shuffled a few things about. You know, I've picked up a few little tips and tricks, which I will go over. So for the most part, it's, you know, there's not a massive difference. However, so your heavy gunners, naturally, I've now upgraded to 2 Traveller Pharmacy because I'm just too scared to use my stims because I'm constantly holding that little. So I've made small sacrifices just to, you know, to run that. Perception, same again, Refractor, you don't need Perception, there's nothing else, you know, beneficial that you can put in there. Ideally I'd love to have that at 4, do you know what I mean, but you know, you don't really have a choice. Endurance, still very high endurance. It was maxed until 2 days ago. I was always running 1 Chem Fiend, and when I was bloodied I was running Radical, but I thought, you know what, I've got enough chems, I don't really need to be running it. Yeah, I've got enough chems there to not have to bother about that. Just keep taking them. I know you get a notification when, you know, when they've worn off, so just keep topping it up, man. No brainer. So I took that out and I put that into Travelling Pharmacy. But same again, Life Giver. Now this one, a lot of you will probably be raising an eyebrow at this. Now this has been meta for a while. Like, I know a lot of people have been running it. I've known about it for a long time. Wasn't really running it, but in the last week or so I have been running it. I've been testing it out, and I stood there toe to toe with one of my mates, and we were just quantum spamming and testing, and the result was flawless. Now, if I'm running Lead Belly, which I would be running instead of Ghoulish if I was bloodied, but for Ghoulish I'll swap it out for rank 3 Lead Belly, so I don't take any rads from anything I eat or drink, so no rads from your nukas. But with Ghoulish, right, you're spamming quantums, you're fucking invincible, yeah? Because your quantums, I need to further test, but you know, your quantums are doing, you're getting double or maybe even triple benefits, because your health is regenerating with the rads as well. Do you know what I mean? So just every so often, you know, pop a grape if you've got grapes. If not, just take a rad away, take a small hit in your food bar and your water bar. No big deal. I carry Salisbury Steaks and purified water, you know, in case of that. But your water's constantly topped up anyway with your nukas, so you just need to worry about your food bar. But yeah, if you don't believe me, try it. But it is pretty OP, and it's one a lot of the top PvPers have been keeping under wraps. You know, some of these guys that claim that they like helping people, you know, with their PvP builds, but yet they're so secretive of some of the meta shit that they're running. I'm not. I don't give a shit, right? Ghoulish, it's a really good card. and it's up and coming known meta. It's up and coming known meta, although, you know, a small few have been running it for a while. But yeah, I've been running it, and by God, it does actually make a difference. But like I said, they'll do further testing exactly how much health it's regenerating at all levels, etc, etc. And I'm going to test it with lead belly as well to see if it still has the same effect running level 2 lead belly. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. But cola nut, fucking no-brainer, standard. Fireproof, same again. Take less damage from the splash damage, the explosive damage from these horrible explosive energy weapons. And rejuvenated. Now, rejuvenated, what I speak to you about that. So, at the moment, obviously it is a really good card to run. As long as your food and water's topped up, you're going to get plus 50 HP, plus 50 AP by default. However, I don't know when it's coming, but they're making changes to how your food and water works. There's going to be no depletion anymore, no bars. The empty and the card rejuvenated is changing as well, the effect of it. And as far as I've been led to believe, it's actually changing to a max 10 HP buff. Maximum 10 HP, which is going to be useless dog shit. So that will be coming off soon, depending what changes they make to it. But yeah, with the food and water, they're removing that completely, so there's going to be no AP depletion for low food and water and stuff like that. There's going to be no negatives whatsoever. There's only going to be benefits. So just the same as, you know, taking your foods. If you don't take foods, if you don't eat, nothing will happen. But if you eat your food, you'll still reap the benefits, the current benefits that you do get for the foods. So good news, I suppose. Yeah, makes it a little less immersive, but let's be honest, who plays this game to be immersive? Fucking nobody. Charisma. So like I said, I did downsize this a little bit. I think before it was, in fact, I think before all it was field surgeon and party boy. But since then, I was running 9 charisma for a while, and I was running field surgeon, strange in numbers, and then I was running 3 suppressor and 3 party boy. Or when I was feeling a bit braver, I'd take suppressor off and I'd run tenderizer, 3 tenderizer. But I wasn't running that for a while because it was broken with one of legendary perks. I think it was taking one for the team. If you had that running, tenderizer didn't work. So I never ran tenderizer for a few weeks until that was fixed. But now it's all working fine, it's all good. But yeah, so I had it at 9, and it was nice to be able to share 3-star cards with the team. But you know, it's all about, you know, trial and error, you know, constantly chopping and changing. So right now, this is what I'm running: field surgeon, 1 suppressor, 3 tenderizer, right? But I swap them around. Yeah, I can run 3 suppressor, 1 tenderizer. It just depends. You adapt to the situation. You know, if you're facing somebody that's, you know, that's beaming and hitting you hard, I would switch that. I would go 3 suppressor, 1 tenderizer, absolutely. And then of course your strange in numbers. But I do still run party boy from time to time. It just depends what cards my teammates are sharing. If my teammates are sharing strange in numbers, then I'll take that off, and I'll probably take the 1 that I'm running and put on 2 party boy. And then I can start spamming that alcohol as well. I still take the alcohol though, because you still get an extra 25 max HP even without party boy, so it's not that bad. With level 2 you're getting an extra 50 HP, so running that, you know, in conjunction with rejuvenated, that's an extra 100 max HP, that's good. But given the chance, I will run it at level 3. But yeah, just depends. And of course at full health, I feel tenderizer works a bit better. You're getting that all-important damage buff, because the numbers are fucking dog shit at the moment. But that's something we got to live with going forward. The big nerf, one wasteland, yeah, no bother Bethesda. But intelligence, this has changed as well. Before, it was first aid and it was stabilised. I would still run first aid, however, for those that don't know, Nerd Rage is broken at the moment. So see the buffs that you see on the card? 40% damage resist, 20% damage output and 15% AP regen. It's working at any HP. Yeah, you don't need to be below 20% health for that to work right now. I wasn't the one to discover this. There's been a couple of videos put up on YouTube already about this. If I remember rightly, I think it was Poppin' Smoke. It was Poppin' Smoke's video that I seen. He was explaining about this. I think it was him. But yeah, so in the meantime, I'm running Nerd Rage. Again, get that all-important damage buff. First aid, it's not overly required as long as you're running super stims. It's going to do the same or similar effect to regular stims with first aid. Yeah, so it's not a massive deal. And the way I play now, I'm actually using less stims and using more nukas, but I still like the stims there to spam. Hence, I still carry a lot. But when I was running like one or no travelling pharmacy, I was scared to use my stims. Like, I was scared to hit that stim button at all, and it didn't go in my favour a lot of the time. So, fuck it, whatever works for you. But yeah, this is a biggie that I've added in. Demo Expert, I was never convinced by it. But after a little bit of testing, yeah, you're absolutely hitting higher numbers. As long as you've got your damage numbers visible, you know, when you're doing damage, you'll see the difference. So technically you should be hitting a target for, you know, the base damage it shows in your Pip-Boy. Like, we're not talking players or things with tanky armour and stuff like that, just regular things you should see. But at the end of the day, you know, you shoot a target without Demolition Expert, look at the number, put on Demo Expert, look at the number again, the numbers are going to be higher if you're hitting the same target. So it does work. You're not getting, it can be a little bit deceiving. Your explosives do plus 60% damage, right? You know what your splash damage does. You know, historically, splash damage, explosive weapons do 15 points of area damage. You know, it's pretty much the same in this. So you're only getting 60% plus 60% of 15 area damage. So it's not a lot, but it certainly fucking helps, especially now with this big massive nerf. So yeah, for those that aren't convinced, just see for yourself. Yeah, take our word, trust us. Try and run it. Agility, nothing's changed here. Still through hiker for, you know, your abundance of fucking aid items. Born Survivor, but if I'm running Bloodied, I'll switch out Action Boy. If I'm up against like a railway, or, you know, I just want to troll, it'll be Secret Agent to fill that 2 slot. And I will never ever in my life remove Dodgy. It's all about Dodgy. Luck, like I said, I'm running no class freak because I'm running, I just craft and take my mutations as and when. But bloody mess, one gun army, starts genes. I have tried running without starts genes. You know, that's what a lot of people are doing as well. They're fucking off their head. They're off their fucking head. Like, if you're just roaming about and you get hit by a ghoul, you know, as soon as you're taking radiation damage, you end up picking up all these crazy mutations, so you're constantly going to have to redo your mutations. Like, why would you not run starts genes? Like, it's just far more hassle than what it's worth, in my opinion. It would be ideal if, you know, when you were taking radaways to remove mutations, it removed mutations in order of they were acquired. That would be great. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It just removes any random mutation. So fuck that, I will never not run starts genes. And, you know, for those that don't run starts genes and, you know, put up with all the above hassle I just mentioned, you guys are fucking patient. That's all I can say. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of change. You know, this is my high health setup, but at the moment, if I drop my health for the damage output benefit, the only thing I will change right now is Born Survivor for Action Boy. That is the only change I'll make, pretty much. If I'm PvEing, I'll probably take off like Rejuvenated or something, I'll bang on Chem Fiend, but I don't do a lot of PvE anymore. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said, guys, this is just a guide. You know, I'll never ever say, you know, this is the build you need, you have to run. Do you know what I mean? It's each to their own, everybody's got their own style. But yeah, I just thought I'd share with you guys the updated builds and show you, you know, how far you can come in just a few months of, you know, experience. But, you know, I've spoke to you guys, you know, a bit about some fresh meta, like, you know, the ghoulish and stuff like that. Here's another one that I wanted to touch on earlier, but we kind of bypassed it, and it's new upcoming meta. So if you think logically, this big massive nerf that's happened, yeah, bloodied builds are on the rise again. So I've came toe to toe with more bloodied builds than I've seen for the longest time. And it's because, of course, everyone else is doing less damage, so naturally everyone is tankier, even more so as your bloody build. And also with the nerf, you know, you want to be doing more damage. People are addicted to doing more damage, so they're going to be running bloodied for those reasons as well. It's a big massive catch-22, but you know, it really is becoming one wasteland. Like the game is so ridiculously balanced compared to before, but yeah, there's a very fine contrast now between a high health and a low health build. So with that in mind, like I said, you know, weapons are going to, there's going to be new meta weapons as well, and a lot of people are keeping this kind of under wraps, but again, I don't care. But check out Executioners, guys. Check out Executioners. I wasn't convinced of that before until I actually sat down and done some calculating, because, you know, like naturally you're going to think, right, okay, so you've got an Executioner's weapon that does 50% damage only when the target's below 40% health. So you're thinking, but take a Junkie's weapon, that does a 50% damage buff all the time. However, what myself and I'm sure a lot of other people have failed to grasp the concept of is the base damage of the weapons. Yeah? So I done a little calculation last night, and it wasn't with anything special, but it was just two weapons that I had that were similar roles, one Executioner's, one Junkie's, that was sitting on my mule. So I used a Gatling gun, right? I had an Executioner's fire rate Gatling gun and a Junkie's fire rate Gatling gun, right? So at that time, you know, my base damage for the Junkie's Gatling gun was 258, yeah? But with no change to my health or anything, the Executioner's fire rate base damage was doing 215, and that was with them equipped at the time. So with the Junkies equipped 258, with the Executioners equipped 215, right? Now that's your flat base damage at full health with your Junkies, 258. That ain't going to increase unless your health drops. Full health base damage for the Executioners, 215. Yeah, that's not a massive difference. But then, if you're fighting a bloodied target that's below 40% health, you're getting a 50% damage buff on that Executioners. That Gatling gun would then be doing 322 damage, base damage, as opposed to 258 the Junkies is doing. Do the maths, guys. It's there. Executioners is the next meta, because watch the rise in bloody builds and then watch them shit their pants and go full health again. But yeah, and I'm trying to get my hands on an Executioner's explosive plasma right now, so if I do come toe to toe with a bloody guy, he's not going to have a good day. But there you go, guys, some tricks, tips, my new updated build, some future meta, upcoming meta. Stay safe and get clapping. Thanks for watching, guys. Adios.